The Oruga Podcast.
Somehow somebody's always looking the other way. Now look at these guys. They look busy, right?
Are you gonna be the strict parents that are like, give me that Neuralink, give me the God. You don't have anything. You are just gonna be playing with your wood blocks and that's it.
Bruh.
And it's like, I think.
What if they like start categorizing people that have it and not have it? Like you start splitting this up. Like,
right.
You guys are the stupid heads.
You're the naturalists, or you're
Literally.
and I guess that's kind of what the Amish is to us now.
Bro, that's crazy.
We look at the Amish in like a very similar fashion, like those stupid people who don't want electricity.
But they make that good food for sure.
And there must be something to it. I mean, there's got to be a reason why they're, the camaraderie of being a part of nature, being a part of this natural life. There's got to be like a romance to that.
Welcome to the Op. Be sure to check out Oruga's shop. We make shirts and hoodies that are comfortable and stylish. Follow @ShopOruga and visit orugastore.com. That is ORUGA store.com. Beat produced by Saipuda. Check him out at saipudabeats.com.
You're not live.
Welcome to the Op. I gotta make sure. Okay, that's all right. I just came back from the orthodontist and I have retainers in my mouth now. And honestly, like I used to have retainers before when I was in high school. Now I'm in college, so clearly I wasn't good about it in the beginning. So that's why I'm having retainers for the second time. But I kind of like it. Like having retainers is like, it's kind of nice for my teeth. Like as a teeth grinder, it's like it really eases the pressure off my teeth, and I'm kind of excited about it. And also, taking off retainers are the most satisfying thing ever. It's like I don't know. After like a long day of like working out and taking a shower, it's 10 times more satisfying than that. Taking retainers off after a day of your teeth being in pain. And, yeah. That's my dental update. So my teeth do hurt. My teeth hurt. And if you hear me...
That's disgusting.
That's because I'm just not used to my retainer. And, yeah, that's about it.
Preston's grill is super transparent. He needs to get some diamond studs in there.
I would agree. Diamond studs would be pretty cool. Just to have this whole thing, like... I don't want to say bedazzled, but like just a colorful rainbow. I'm just kidding. I'm not that.
Wow. Have you had the retainers that they like glue in the top of your roof of your mouth?
No, those things scare me to death because I feel like you're only gonna get shit stuck in there after eating. Honestly, like
a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Do you imagine?
Oh
and
no!
Metal around all the peanut butter and all the bread.
Just imagine like you're eating a piece of pizza and like there's just that wire, right? And I feel like that wire is so easy to bend. I feel like my tongue would create a task to be like, I need to bend that wire. I need to bend that wire just for fun. And like, that's why I'm always scared of the permanent retainers. But, that's just like my bias. But I do like the regular retainers because you can take them out. Just having that freedom of being able to take them out is pretty fun. But they had me download an app to be able to like...
For your teeth? What?
Dude. So I got expensive retainers, okay? Shout out to my mom.
Wow.
God bless her. So, and like having nice teeth is really important. I mean, you want to have nice teeth. You want to have, not yellowed, pinked teeth, like having nice...
Now I'm self-conscious. Now I'm like closing my mouth.
You're totally fine, don't worry. But like, just, I don't know, just like you don't want a meth head's mouth, that's for sure. So, but the thing with these retainers to like fix my teeth is that they're like giving me a whole set of equipment to like attach to my phone to be able to take photos of my mouth and take full-on videos of my mouth of like side to side, up and down, like just making sure the progress. So each week I have to like attach my phone to this, I don't know, apparatus, let's say, and then like it attaches to like a mouth
piece,
almost like a mouthpiece, and then it like the camera is almost funneled to your mouth, and then you do this like 2 or 3 minute video of your mouth, and you send it to the orthopedic people or orthodontist people, excuse me. Those are completely different. That's 2 different practices, but yeah. So you send it to the orthodontist, and then they'll check your progress. But even downloading another app on my phone is so annoying. I hate having apps on my phone. When people are like, download this app because of blah, 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 I'm like, can you just not do this sales pitch? I almost told that to my, I don't know what to call them. They're not doctors. Because this is like a nurse.
Tooth doctors?
Well, the
tooth fairy?
The people who see me at first when I walk into the orthodontist.
The receptionist.
There's a receptionist, but then there's the people who just got out of college. They did 4 years and they're basically a nurse. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Nah.
Okay.
I've never been to an orthodontist, so
okay.
I don't know.
So like at a hospital, there's nurses, there's nurse practitioners, and then there's doctors.
Right.
Kind of similar stuff to an orthodontist. There's like the nurses, and then there's the doctors. Okay?
Right.
And so the nurse was like, this is what's going to happen. You have to download the app so we can get progress. I just started laughing because I told her, I was like, that sounds so horrible to download an app. And she was like, well, I guess you don't have to, but it does help. And like, she gave me the sales pitch on it. And I felt so bad that I said that to her, that I didn't want to download the app. So, I did it in front of her just out of a little bit of pity. But yeah, just having extra apps on my phone just annoys the shit out of me. I'm so over it. But that's my dental update.
I could see now the future of OnlyFans with the teeth picture content being sold. Can you imagine?
Picture content. I'll make millions.
No.
I'll show you my canines, and then later on I'll show you my molars.
That could be a thing. That could literally be a thing. That's sad.
It's funny how okay, I guess that would be classified as a fetish, or not a fetish, but almost as a I guess a sexual preference isn't really the great word for it, but
a foul act.
Alright.
Would disagree with.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, when I've had girlfriends, I'll lick their teeth.
Yo, chill. That's disgusting.
Whatever, man. Yeah, that's my dental update, but I'm not going to sell my teeth pictures anytime soon. I'm okay. Yeah. Especially because it's like, even, I was thinking about it, I was like, would I really want to take videos of my mouth and send it to my orthodontist? That seems even a little invasion of privacy, right? I'm like, come on, you really going to have me take videos of my mouth every week? That seems a bit much. For 20 weeks. That's how long I have to have these retainers in, and it's for 20 weeks I have to do that. Seems a bit ridiculous.
They're trying to help you, and when you do that,
they just want
putting some money in their pocket.
They want my content. They want my data. But yeah, I actually am really excited to have my teeth fixed though. God bless them, and God bless my mother for helping me out for that. So I'm really excited.
Looking for comfortable? Looking for comfortable and stylish apparel? Something right up your alley? Oruga has a collection for you. Monochrome, features sleek black and white designs. The Workweek in thermal features pops of vibrant color. Check out orugastore.com for unique styles and streetwear.
Have you noticed outside it's been like really hazy with the forest fires
Oh my, yeah.
in Canada?
It has been. It's been ridiculous. It has been totally annoying because, like, I was taking a walk earlier today, and you can just kind of tell when you're out of breath. You're like, "This is shit air." Like,
Yeah.
so what do you? I don't know. What's your take on it?
I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Like the suburbs.
Sure.
And the air down there is like 10 times, 100 times more crisp than Cincinnati air. It's just super fresh. You can, when you breathe in the oxygen, you know it's coming in from the plants. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I
it has
don't.
that flavor to it.
You're so tripping.
And then here, it's like
You're so
this is
tripping.
coming from the cars
Sure.
out, like trash.
Mhm.
The air here is just so trashy. Then
Well, Dayton is just cornfields. It's just flat. And I will admit that Cincinnati's like a bowl. Like, Cincinnati has this, like, deep bowl scent. Like, it's just a valley where
Right.
all the, like, the musk and the smoke just kind of sits into the valley. I will admit to that, but I'm gonna offer you a thought that this air is from fucking Quebec, right?
Right, yeah,
It's from
sure.
Quebec. So and I'm gonna be honest with you, Kahaya, Dane and Cincinnati, Quebec and Cincinnati, what's in between those two? Dane.
you know what's crazy? You know what's
So
crazy?
you can't tell me that the air is crisper there.
It
It
is.
technically should be crisper here.
If you look at the air quality, I looked at it like 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
2 weeks ago, I looked at the air quality from Cincinnati and compared it to Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Dayton was bad because of the fire,
Proximity?
the smoke.
Okay.
Yeah, but Cincinnati was worse.
Okay.
So it's like,
You might have something there. I
think it's
yeah.
a combination, like our trashiness and the smoke together.
And size of city.
Yeah,
I think size of city probably has a lot to do with it as well, because Dane's not even in the top 5 cities in
Literally.
Ohio, right? But
especially where I was at. I was technically in like Inglewood. Like
okay.
20 minutes away from Dayton. So that area, like, we're not really producing them a lot of like emissions and whatnot from cars, but here in Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
lots of people, lots of work, lots of roads,
Mm-hmm.
lots of highways.
Driving through Cincinnati before I was coming here, I couldn't see the skyline. Like, I
You
was
saw nothing like fog.
you could see outlines of buildings, but you couldn't see the buildings. That's
crazy.
how condensed the haze is. And is that the proper word? Haze? Like, they
I
don't.
think that's what they're saying, but it's
Isn't that
smoke.
such a druggy term? The haze. Like, what? Is
I
that
mean-
really the best scientific term we have?
Can't really say fog. It's not
It's not.
that bad yet. Is that the level? It's like haze first, then fog.
But does fog have to be or water particles?
I believe so. Yeah, it's like a low cloud.
Okay, but these are not water particles.
Right.
This is smoke particles, I guess, or burning particles.
I think they will still try and pass it as fog over smog anytime they can.
Well, for better PR,
I don't know. Why would you want
We're
to
like,
say
we're- right?
New York morning today? There is heavy smog
Mm-hmm.
covering 50% visibility for 100 meters, whatever. Why would you say smog when you can just say fog? And it just sounds better. It sounds like it's not toxic. And you're
Mhm.
not gonna die.
I'm not a big mask person. Like, even during COVID, not to be controversial, but the masks were really annoying. But I wore my mask. I'm not trying to be a bad human. But I will say, I did think about wearing a mask today, going outside. And I went outside and my street was hazy.
Right.
And you can kind of tell that there's like a percentage of visibility, right? That just like is completely lowered, and it's scary. I mean, it really makes you think that, like, you know, what could we do as humans, like, to mitigate this shit?
Pretty nuts. I've seen a lot of people here actually wear masks.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. But what benefit do you have of wearing a mask? You're still breathing the same air, right? I mean, yeah, you could be like, oh...
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Unless you have, like, one of those, like...
N95s?
Nice ones.
Yeah. If you have an N95, I get it. Because it's down to the... like, the particle size, right? But I just don't feel like the smoke is... like that big of a particle for me to wear a cloth mask, and it actually helps me. Like I'm just gonna have heavy breathing. Is the only thing that's gonna happen.
So who are like the people that need to stay inside? Like asthma, people with bad asthma for sure, right?
I mean, I've never thought about it. But COPD people who suffer from COPD, people who have trouble breathing, obviously. I have some family members who do have COPD, and I remember about a month ago, before any news of this stuff happening, they're like, it's really hard to breathe right now.
That's great.
And like, I can't go outside. I was like, you fucking pussy. Like, that's what I was thinking in my head, obviously, being ignorant. But then, like, as the month has progressed, I was like, man, they knew that shit was, like, they knew something was up before anyone else, because, they're the ones most affected by it. So, yeah, people with COPD and asthma, I'm sure, are greatly affected by it, yeah. Thank God I don't have it.
I saw an old coworker that has allergies, and they were just crying the whole time.
Really?
They were talking to me. Yeah.
Why allergies? Allergies would be affecting?
I don't know. Maybe they just had really bad allergies, but
okay.
I was like, dang, this person going through something while they're talking to me, or what's going on? I was like, oh yeah, they have allergies. Mm-hmm. That's probably why.
I don't really believe in allergies.
Yeah, maybe she was just crying.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I know allergies are a real thing, but there's a lot of people who like kind of blanket allergies and as being just like just not being good with the weather.
I see.
Right? I mean, like that would be a great case for me, because they would say, oh, if I have allergies, it's pollen. That there's a high pollen count in the spring. That's why I have allergies. Cool. That makes sense to me. But then if you're saying now you have allergies, it's not really an allergy. It's really you're just sick to the air, right?
Allergic to the air.
Right, like everyone else. Everyone else is having the same issue, but they're saying it's affecting them more, so that's why they categorize it as an allergy.
I see.
Which is really interesting to me, that like, is there something more to a person having allergies? Is it like a respiratory issue? Is it like, oh, can they not filter the air as well as other people can? Is that why they have an allergy? Or is it like, their
sinuses like overreacting?
Sure. Are their sinuses super sensitive just to like other particles that are, I won't say not natural, but unusual for the area that they live in?
Pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the fires?
No, I have not.
It's pretty crazy. Like, the Canadian forests are super dense,
mm-hmm.
and have a crap ton of pine trees.
Mm-hmm.
You see like a line of fire and like so much smoke coming off of it. It looks like a train, but like times 100, like the old steam engines.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Like a giant monster of a cloud.
I like the smell of pine trees too. I bet that's
Burning?
I don't know about burning. I've never really burned a pine tree down that's living before, but.
Right.
Yeah, that's really sad though.
I heard that there's like 400 fires and 200 of them are under control. That's what an article said that I read yesterday.
Fuck yeah, 50%. Fuck yeah. I know that as a fireman, you do control burns. Like, which is really fascinating to me, that you can kind of survey the land, do a control burn, and kind of mitigate the spread of the fire through making a fire, which is so funny to me. I mean, like, if it works, it's great, obviously. I just love the counterintuitiveness.
I don't know how to do it. They're using magic for that.
I'm sure that they're calculating for like wind and like, oh, they have to survey the land, make sure like.
That's too much, right?
But I don't know if it was this fire or if it was a fire last year in California, but I heard that fires can jump rivers.
What?
So like I'm no fucking scientist here, but I'm assuming it's just like the ash and like the burning ash that gets in the air and must just carry over the river, and then that burning ash just picks up, starts burning something, and then starts the fire on the other side of the river.
That could definitely happen in Cali.
Scary shit, man.
It's not a desert, but it's like extremely dry over there. So like shrubs literally just catching fire because it's like 100-something degrees outside, and then shrubs in the highway would just catching fire. So I could definitely see some ash hitting some shrubs and then blazing up for sure.
I find it fascinating that like places that desert cities are becoming a popular thing, because like now as humans we're having a little more ability with infrastructure to pipe water into these desert cities. But the fact that we do that, we have to steal water from like, big rivers, of like the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam is the river that supplies Las Vegas, right?
I see.
And LA, I don't really recall what river is supplying LA, or maybe it's a lake that supplies LA.
They're right next to the ocean, aren't they? In LA.
They can't use that water. That's not fresh water. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's been like huge funding for research on how to convert salt water to fresh water. But the issue that we have as humans is we can't do that without using a bunch of power. Yeah. The power consumption is the biggest issue with the problem of converting salt water to fresh water, which is crazy that we haven't figured this out. Because
so
2/3 of the world is fucking salt water, and we're like, that freshwater lake that's about 200 miles the opposite direction. That's a way better solution. I don't get it. But how are you doing today, man?
Living the dream.
You living the dream? Why are you living the dream?
I'm not living the dream, Preston.
Why?
Let's be real.
Okay.
Took an exam.
Yeah.
Probably bombed it.
Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. Okay.
The good thing is, though, that my teacher, gives a lot of points when you, at least write something down.
Mm-hmm.
What do they call those points?
Participation, at least.
I don't know. It's sure, you might have the wrong answer, but it seems you knew how to go throughout the process of answering this question, so...
Partial credit.
Yeah, partial credit. So you get a 9 out of 10 if you don't have the right answer. Sometimes you get 10 out of 10. My last quiz.
Cool.
I got 19 out of 20 and got both questions wrong, but I had the right... I was solving it the right way, I just didn't convert a unit to the right measurement. So took an L.
So sad. Do you like chemistry?
I love chemistry.
You love chemistry.
This was fluid dynamics.
Fluid dynamics. What are fluid dynamics?
The study, it's like physics, but for water.
That's
liquid.
So cool, actually. No way.
For real.
Can I lay a question on you?
Probably not able to answer it.
Always thought this.
Go ahead.
Is there I'm going to have to give some context to my question. So for gravity, we understand that if we are standing on Earth, it's negative 9.8 meters per second squared is gravity.
Right.
Correct? And I've always wondered, is there a formula or a metric unit or just an equation that kind of sums up water movement?
What do you mean by that?
Great. So, okay, because a computer program.
Let me give you this example.
Pause. Whoa, let me put a pin in that for a second, because I just need to explain my question just a little bit further. Because how to animate water is, like, if you could give, how could you code water in an animation and make it fluid and make it so damn near to what water actually is in our reality? And I've just always thought, like, how could you recreate water movement with a formula, really?
But it'd be a crazy formula with a lot of integration.
Okay.
So, like, I think you would have to... So, like, a good formula for the movement of water is, like, delta, parenthesis, pressure over density, plus, what is it, gravity times height, and then times 1/2 velocity squared, times the change in internal energy. That's the movement of water for the most part. I think it's called Bernoulli's equation, maybe.
And with that, you're taking into account volume and where it is relative to Earth,
That's
right?
velocity.
So do you have to also calculate elevation as well? Because water changes its density from if it's being on top of, let's say Denver has a lake,
Exactly.
or ocean level.
So what you would have to do is you take that equation and you'd break down every single part of it, and you probably need other equations too, like fluid dynamic equations.
Like what equations?
Other fluid dynamic equations.
Other fluid dynamic equations. Okay.
So like
And you're not mixing in any other chemical or any other compounds at this point, right? You're not
you
mixing.
Can.
So you're
You
not
have,
even
like,
accounting.
oil on top of water.
That's
stuff
sick.
like that. But,
yeah.
Like for the pressure,
Sure.
pressure is like force times area. Then you have to break that. Is that right? Force times area, yeah.
Force times area.
Force times area is equal to pressure.
What with this equation that you're doing? What's your result? What are you trying to find right now?
You could find any variable. The equation is set to 0.
Any variable.
You can find any one of those variables. Like so, if you have
What's a variable?
velocity,
Okay.
or even like gravity, like
Or
There's so
is
much.
elevation? Is elevation
for
one?
example, I was telling you like pressure is equal to force times area. So if
Sure.
you had an area,
Mm-hmm.
you would plug that in to.
This has
You know what I
already
mean?
sounded so deep. Yeah, you're losing me so quickly, but it's okay.
I suck at explaining.
No, it's okay. It's okay. This
For
is what
your
happens
program-
when a student fails his chemistry class.
Literally. If you wanted to make that program,
Yeah.
you would need to add in all of those variables
Okay.
and like break them all down into like simple equations.
Sure.
Like just super simple, make it super simple.
Yeah.
What's some easy like physics equation like?
I don't want to say ballistics, but what? Not object in motion.
Or here's one like acceleration is equal to velocity times time.
Yeah.
So-
But I was always taught in physics not to use equations. To use
What?
Yeah. So my teacher in high school, I wouldn't be able to replicate it now because I've been out of practice of this for probably since freshman year of college. But he would have us build our own equations based off of what inputs you have. So
Right.
let's take a satellite. Okay, if we are going to launch a satellite, we would do equations like that. So orbitals, how to have an orbit around around a mass. And, you calculate for the mass, you calculate for the gravity, you calculate, what's your force. You always need a force because the satellite needs to go straight. But as the satellite is going straight, it's constantly falling.
Right.
And as it's constantly falling, it's falling around this Earth. Let's put it just that way.
Right.
So the satellites are constantly falling. 24/7 they're falling, but they're falling around this round Earth, which is constantly bringing it in an ever Yeah, it's so crazy how I can't even explain it either. But they were really cool equations, and like drawing them out were really fun, and having all the parts to the equations were really fun. But you can get so deep so quickly without even trying. I mean,
I agree.
And God bless my teacher. He was like an amazing teacher, but he would just talk so above my head sometimes, and yeah, that's why I'm not in physics right now. Is because like I did enjoy it, but it's like, and I just didn't enjoy that part because there's not enough there's a lot of inputs. Like as a human being doing physics, there's a lot of inputs, but you don't get really like the instant gratification out of it. And that's I was struggling because with any other math, like if you're doing accounting or like what I am in now, finance, like I get the instant gratification. I get the answer quickly, and I know it's the answer because I can backtrack and get like actual. I can check
confirmation.
I can get a confirmation that my number's correct. But with physics, you're like, I hope I need another person to like really check it to make sure that I'm not biased and I didn't do anything incorrect or I didn't my steps are in account with what reality presents.
Your right too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like with that program for the water, I think, like in our work problems that the teachers give us, they give you like certain things to plug in, certain inputs. But I think in the real world, you have multiple inputs. You have every single input, nothing set to zero.
Right.
So like, that's why you have to like account for so many different types of equations to even get to like a complex form of physics. Which would be insane. Yeah,
to have a simple equation of water movement, you'd have to do it in a vacuum. You'd have to. Well, I mean, like not a perfect vacuum. You probably need gravity. You're gonna want a perfect substance like H2O, and that's it.
Right.
And then obviously have parameters of like this is the dish or this is the place that the water will rest. But yeah, once you start adding like, oh, what's the basin? Like what holds? Because I'm sure what holds the water will also indicate like what is in the water. If you have a very muddy, swampy type water, it's going to move a little bit slow or a little bit different than a clear, crystal clear water.
That's a big thing in chemistry, like in chem lab. You can't use tap water for your lab.
No, distilled, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Tap water has the ions in it, and you can like mess up your reaction if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of shit in tap water to make it drinkable. You got to purify our water. Even from the Ohio River, man, you got to purify that water. Can't drink it raw.
Don't tell me I'm drinking the Ohio River.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you live here, you're drinking it.
No.
You're drinking that milky brown water.
No. I think we have the grossest water. No, there's one in
technically
Cali that's worse.
Dude, I was reading a fake news article that was saying that Cincinnati had good tap water.
That's great.
No, and I was like, I mean, maybe we do, and I just don't understand. And I mean, I live in OTR, and the OTR tap water is not bad. I mean, I like it.
I don't think I've ever had good tap water.
Really?
For real, yeah. It always tastes like there's something wrong with it.
That's what I like. I like the imperfection. I know that sounds so crazy, but I'm so used to the tap water now. I mean, like even UC's tap water is a little, but I'm used to it. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna be like, psh, fuck this water? I'm gonna drink Coke instead.
Nah.
Yeah, like
hot dog water right there.
Looking for an out-of-this-world poster or some stickers to brighten your mood? Check out the Posters and Prints collection on our website, orugastore.com. Our artworks are perfect for walls, mood boards, and anywhere you want to accessorize.
So the reason why I brought up, could you have an equation for water is because I'm assuming that's what gaming developers have to do. they have to have some type of formula for a transparent type of water that moves around with the said character or whatever your avatar is, and you need to visually have it satisfying and good for the the user or the gamer or whoever's using that program. And I just assume that game developers probably have to talk to physicists,
right? Sure.
And be like, hey, we need a code water. Please help us out. Like, and I bet that is just such a mind-numbing conversation. I bet you could fall asleep in those roundtable conversations so quickly, because I mean, just trying to recreate something like God into a computer program with ones and zeros. I mean, you're really just like you're trying to fix. You're trying to fix a screw with a hammer. Like, that is just... Dude. It's like so crazy.
I believe every big company that does engineering, that's what they do. They simulate everything they do on a computer.
For sure.
Before they even think about even making a prototype. They make sure that simulation has perfect physics in it.
Right.
And is can be the real world, can do every scenario you could probably think of. Like, for example, I bet Audi or Mercedes, they program a car and run it through a wind tunnel on their computer before they even put it in a real wind tunnel.
For sure. For sure. I the first example that comes to mind is bridge makers.
I see.
Because I'm sure they have to test payloads, and they have to test what happens if there's traffic and there's every single one of the vehicles on the bridge is a fully loaded semi.
Right.
What happens then? And, to save lives and to save billions of dollars of creating a bridge, yeah, of course. Throw it through a fucking stupid computer and then you're done. Of course, yeah, that makes total sense to me, because before you had to do that all on paper and pen. And you're throwing, 100 million tons at this structure. I'm going to have to test each point mathematically, and that's just...
Could you imagine? That'd be terrible.
No. I mean,
terrible.
The closest example of that would be the woman who mathematically calculated the Apollo, I guess it was Apollo 11 mission, and...
On pan?
Oh, yeah. They didn't have fucking computers. So the woman who did that, I can't recall her name, but she had probably 2,000 or 3,000 papers just stacked. God. And it was probably so much writing that would have made 10 Bibles.
That's insane.
And yeah. And you should look it up just for shits and giggles, because it is Apollo 11.
Apollo 11.
Yeah, you spelled it right.
And then
woman calculations. Yeah, calculations.
You want to do on paper?
Yeah.
On paper.
And then
images.
Yeah, there she is.
Oh my.
Oh, actually, I was underestimating. Her calculations are as tall as her, and these books are not these are.
Cow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is nuts.
Look, scroll down though. Scroll down.
On the side.
Scroll down. That looks like a dick. That's
wow.
The orbit of Apollo 11 looks like a dick. That's insane. That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, this woman calculated every single thing for the trip to the moon, which is super impressive. I mean, she had to calculate down to when they were launching, at what angle are they going at the sky.
This woman, Margaret Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. Margaret Hamilton, yeah.
She should be recognized as a top woman figure for engineering for sure. That's insane.
No. You could even go farther. This woman put us on the moon.
Facts. Doing all that math.
I couldn't even imagine writing one of those books in a year. And it seems like she did this in probably a decade. which is unbelievable.
Super impressive.
I mean, she looks like she's like 5'6" or so. She's wearing heels, and the amount of textbooks that she wrote in to calculate everything is taller than her. It is impressive as fuck.
So nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, Margaret Hamilton. God bless her.
I know that there was a lady that worked on Skyrim, and
Okay.
she actually talked to Elon and like learned about the physics and talked to some mathematicians and whatnot to develop another game. I don't remember what the game was, but it might have been like another edition of like a game like Skyrim.
Sure.
Maybe it's Elden Ring or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of math in video games, lots of math and simulations, physics.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nuts.
All these are, they're trying to recreate reality in a video game, which I totally understand, and that's how VR and, virtual reality and augmented reality, that's the direction they're all heading, is to be able to walk into a different world, And that's...
How close are we? How close do you think we are?
Probably 30%, maybe 20%, because they haven't really touched the surface on the hard physics yet. I mean, yeah, they probably have like a few things that are close.
What do you mean by hard physics?
Like water,
I see.
air, like bullet travel.
I see.
If
I mean, if they made a game like that, you would want to play it.
Why? Why wouldn't I play it? If it says
It'd be hard.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get to that eventually. But my point is that the hard physics would be like getting a bow and arrow, okay,
Right.
and being able to go into this game and draw back a bow and arrow, or draw back an arrow and shoot it, and it should understand, air. It should understand that there's air density, that there is, updrafts, downdrafts, that and there's the rotation of Earth. Obviously, when I'm shooting a bow and arrow, it's not gonna be, the rotation of Earth is not gonna be that big of a deal. But if I was, shooting a gun further than a mile, then the rotation of Earth is definitely calculated for that. So, those are the kind of hard physics that they really have to understand.
In some games.
But then, once they understand that, then they can create whole realities, The gravity's different. Oh, the air pressures are different. Water's completely different. And they can start creating totally different worlds, which I think I would play that just to experience it. I mean, imagine that, we have this perfect simulator of being on Mars. It might be boring after the first 10 minutes, but I think the first 10 minutes will probably be the most exhilarating thing you could experience if it's if it's so close to the real thing. I think
what I want is something visually real.
Okay.
So,
What do you mean?
I don't want to be able to tell that this is a game. I want it to be real.
Right.
I want this to be super hard to be like, is this real or not?
Okay.
I mean, they already have, I feel like the graphics in video games right now are better than real life. It looks more appealing.
Sure.
That form, I don't know what game I could use for example. Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
You have really stunned. You see people crank up their graphics to the max.
Right.
It's really stunning. Really looks good.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in the real world, no city is gonna look like that. No person's gonna There's no way you're gonna be able to see all the hairs and everything looking sharp on a real person. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm totally against you on that.
What?
I'm totally against you on that because I like living my life to the fullest. The minute I know that there's a better reality, oh, that scared the shit out of me. Because, I don't know, real world experiences, that statement, real world experiences, you're limited to not being on the computer. To have a real world experience, right? Talking to people down the street, you're walking to your car, driving your car. But then once we can just put on VR goggles and it feels exactly the same, it's going to be really hard to not put those goggles on, right? I mean, if you have a shitty life and you have a shit apartment and you put those VR goggles on and you're a fucking prince, who has his own island, and you know the fancy cars and the jet engines and the jet packs and submarines. I'm gonna go scuba dive, and when I go scuba dive, it doesn't. There's no possibility of me dying.
Right.
And that reality would be so fantastical. Why would I ever want to live in this life? Why would I want to be like, I'm going to wake up and see the dullness of Earth?
Right.
And you're never going to once it's really nice, you know.
Shoot.
You're not gonna go to the bar in real life. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna go to the galactic bar on my VR
Do you think
headset.
that's what Apple wants?
Yeah, they all want that. Because that's maximum profits. That's maximum engagement. That's the thing. These corporations are filled with people who want raises.
Right.
Okay? Everybody wants a raise. Everybody wants the top position. And the goals are maximum engagement, maximum reach, maximum human reach. And we want everybody on these fucking things. We want everybody engaged to them. And we want everyone spending their dollar on us. And yeah, Apple definitely wants a monopoly on VR, and so does Google, and so does every single company who is doing that.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's going to be an open market. You're going to have lots of options.
What if it's not open market and they just charge fees for everything?
They will.
How terrible it'd be.
I mean, that's how it will. I was talking to one of my relatives, and I was asking him about, the internet boom, okay? And he's about 40, 50 years old, and he experienced the internet boom, right? And right now, what me and you are witnessing is the VR, AR, and AI boom, okay? And those three things are, to us, at least to me, scary as fuck. It is the scariest thing I've ever seen, because it's better than real life, or it's going to be. It's not now. It's not.
Yeah.
It might not be in a decade.
It seems like a little gimmick to me right now.
It's a gimmick now, but I feel like in 10 to 20 years, it won't be a gimmick. It will be better than reality, I'm assuming. Just because technology is exponential.
Right.
Technology is exponentially fast. From 2000 to 2010, everybody got a Facebook account. Everybody was listed online. Every business was listed online. Everybody goes on Google after that first 10 years to search up anything. Nobody used a phone book in 2010. Nobody used a fucking phone book in 2010.
Right.
And it took 10 years to do that. Or maybe it was 1990 when it was first coming out. But really, I kind of considered the internet boom at 2000. It's kind of my assumption, And when I was talking to my relative, he was like, yeah, no, nobody was scared of the internet. It was a thing. It was like a gimmick in the beginning because it wasn't that great.
Right.
But nobody was scared of it. But man, am I terrified of AI and augmented reality and those things. So I find that shift to be really fascinating. That this society that we live in now is, fear-mongering AI.
Right.
And all those things because, every single day imaging for AI is getting better. It is getting better and better and better. And so is ChatGPT. It's getting better and better. And so is Google's got its own ChatGPT too.
Yep.
And
Bard.
what's it called?
It's Bard.
That sounds so bad. But
just wait until you have your AR goggles on. You're like, hey Bard, show me the next Ice Spice video.
I'm going to be a naturalist.
You're not gonna wear. You're just gonna look at trees.
No, yeah, I will. I think I just really kind of I find it to be anti-human.
I see.
Because it's taking away our human experience. Even these computers are kind of taking away our human experience. Because to feel good is, for me, to feel good is to walk outside. See the sun, see the trees, be a part of the ecosystem.
I feel it.
But, when we're locked away in these rooms and just experiencing the world by ourselves, it's very isolating. I mean, it's super isolating. So I find it to be robbing us of our human experiences. And
I feel like that's just because we're in school. Do you not feel that?
no, I think I'll experience this for the rest of my life. You
That's
could replay
terrible.
this to me at 70 years old, and I guarantee I'll be like, fuck yeah.
Dang.
Fuck.
Dude,
I
once
want my
finish
human
school-
ass experience. If I change up by the time, I'm adult, they say I'm an adult at 22. I don't feel like an adult. But once I do, mature and become an adult, have a family, have a wife, have the home, have responsibilities, there's no way that the VR and AI is going to be tempting me. It will be tempting,
I see.
but it is scarier than it is enjoyable in my mind. Just because of there's just, have you ever, I hate this as a cliche I'm about to tell you, but the fear of AI always goes back to one movie.
The Terminator?
The Terminator,
Oh my
bro.
God.
It always goes back to Terminator.
I used to kind of be afraid of AI and whatnot, but
Mhm.
then I realized the AI can never do something we can't do better. We're always going to be better than the AI, because everything that we have taught the AI, we do. The AI hasn't learned how to do its own thing yet.
You just said the most important word in that sentence. Yet. It hasn't yet.
Will it ever be able to? And if so, what will it learn?
I don't know. And then the question becomes, what is sentient? What is the idea of a sentient being? Being awake.
Right.
Being somebody who can think for themselves.
But we have to make that happen. And then it goes on from there. But are we capable of that? I don't think so.
It's a good question. I don't know if it's with the way that computers are set up. For the first 2 years of my education at a college or a university, I was taking courses on computer science,
Right.
okay, and computer engineering. And I learned very, very, very quickly that every single computer runs off ones and zeros, okay, and that you have to code between those binary things for it to decide and decision make. So you have always, a binary choice.
Right.
But I think there could be the time where the computer has so many choices, so many binary choices to pick from, that it could potentially have the ability to decision make. Maybe. If it has enough information and enough...
It already does that with ChatGPT.
I
You
know.
can ask it a question.
I know.
Same question, give you different
Mm-hmm.
choices. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it stole it. It stole all that information from us humans. It didn't make its own.
Okay.
I don't know if
But
that's-
then I don't think you're fully... Not to be... I'm gonna call you out. Sorry.
Oh my God.
But what do you think we do as a human? I steal all the information from the world, and then what I'm saying now is my gathering of my experience from the world. It's not like I created all the thoughts I'm saying right now. All the thoughts I'm saying right now are a reflection from me experiencing the world and taking in information. Okay?
Right.
And it's doing the exact same thing. It's taking in what the internet footprint, what
Correct.
we've made of a footprint on the internet. It's absorbing all that data and then it's spewing out an answer.
That's true.
It's not too far from me. It's not too far. And that thing might not be wise. That's fair. It might not understand nuances, and it might not understand love and compassion and morality. However, it still has a big pool of information. So I would say that ChatGPT is knowledgeable, but it is not wise.
Right.
And, the same thing with humans. You can be knowledgeable, and you could be not wise. You know, you could have all the information, but you might not be able to know how to use that information. And you know, on the flip side, one day, what if we create the wise ChatGPT? You know, it might not have all the information, but it understands how to filter information properly.
I see.
So, I'm really curious if we can create a wise ChatGPT. That's what I would really like, is some wisdom. I don't need information. For how much information there is in this fucking world on the internet, I could use some less information. But what I really need is some fucking wisdom. I mean, this life is too short to not absorb some wisdom.
I don't know. I feel like it's still a program. It's still like you give it the input, we program outputs, it repeats an output, and that's it. I don't know. I need something more. I don't know what's missing. If it was like
what would be
a real thing, like go make a sculpture. And I want to see it. Like that's what I need to see. I need to see something physical, not really with words. With words, you can't really tell.
Okay.
You feel me?
Well, with that, because you can easily plagiarize words. And what would the moment you think an entity is self-aware?
I don't know. How would you know? I mean, can you tell when you're talking? There's some tests online. Actually,
it's all nonverbal to me. It's all nonverbal.
It's crazy.
Because I think to understand and be wise and be a part of this world, man, I don't know if manifesting itself into the physical world like a robot. Like, if there was a walking ChatGPT, I wonder what that would look like. Because it won't look you in the eyes like it's self-aware. Right? It would just be a robot that just wants, us to give an input. Okay, what's the weather? And then it says the weather, and then that's it. And it just shuts down.
It's like Google Home right now.
Literally a Google Home. That's what ChatGPT is at this point. But the moment that it has like a little camera, or it has like an ability to look at me with a nonverbal ability to understand it's self-aware, because I'm an animal.
I think it is.
I'm an animal. I only understand self-awareness in animals, I guess, and it's hard to tell if something is self-aware when it's in a how do we refer to it? Silicone? Not silicone, but it is just fake, or it's just plastic. Yeah. It's plastic and metal and copper and some gold in there, and that's it. I don't know. But go ahead, sorry.
One big thing that would be yes, this thing's sentient is if it can make decisions or do things by itself without input.
Without input.
Yeah, that would definitely be a key sign. It's thinking on its own.
Well, let me offer you this. I remember listening to Elon Musk and a Joe Rogan podcast, okay? And he was talking about his Model S sedan car. And he was saying that the computer system should be so good on the cars that there should be no input.
Dang, that's crazy.
So you should be able to get into your car, and I guess the input is you getting into the car, which is fair, but you get into the car, and based off the time of the day, who's in the car, it will know where you're going.
That's crazy.
So if you're getting in the morning and it has the ability to understand, okay, you're in the driver's seat. Okay, maybe you have a child. The child goes in the back seat, and it'll be like, okay, so I'm going to go to school first, then go to work.
Right.
And, there should be no input on directions. There should be no input on the driving. There should be no input on the climate control.
Right.
on the inside of it. So it should already know what you prefer. Do you prefer 68 or do you prefer 72 degrees?
That's great.
And yeah, so, and that was his conversation probably like two years ago. And I could only imagine what that evolves to. You know, if we're going to get into our vehicles and we're not going to do anything besides just sit there and be entertained, getting the car business is going to be entertainment.
That's nuts to think
like
about.
It's going to be screens, it's going to be surround sound, it's going to be comfortable, like being comfortable in the car. It's not going to be driving the car. It's not going to, I mean, like, safety's probably important too, but eventually safety shouldn't have to be a thing either. If all the computers are driving us, the computer should be no wrong. And the computer should never crash unless, you know, an act from God, like
a solar flare.
Like a solar flare, a tree falls, or a mountain crumbles from an earthquake. Like, those are the only accidents that should ever happen, not user error.
Right.
Which, that's what we have. We have a lot of user error as... Oh gosh, I saw a percentage of the people who die from car accidents, and like, it's unbelievable. I forget the ratio now, so I'm not going to spew out some random false thing, but
100 to 1 new drivers. So 100 new drivers, out of 101 drivers, 100 of them die, and only one survives. This is for any teenager out here trying to learn how to drive in America. No, I'm joking.
Jesus, no, it's not that bad. Yeah, man, it's really fascinating to see all that happen. I mean, even like Neuralink, man, we won't have VR goggles. VR goggles are literally gonna be the Stone Age. We're gonna look back at VR goggles like, what the fuck are they putting on their eyes? We just plugged that shit into our spine.
Would you get Neuralink?
I would really, really, really think about it. I would really think about it. I think I'd take years to think about it.
I would not do it, bro.
Really?
I would die a monkey.
I know I said I was like anti-technology, and I know like I want the human experience, but hearing Elon explain what Neuralink will be is like you not being able to forget anything. You'll never forget it. You'll be able to record every memory. And you'll be able to have the instant knowledge of... But that's just knowledge. It's not wisdom. But you'll have knowledge. You'll be able to look everything up immediately. You'll be able to surf the web in your head. I mean, like... It might be crazy because our brains are really not developed for that.
Could you imagine, like, watching, like, little kids being addicted to YouTube and they're just constantly, like, watching YouTube in their heads?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that would bring up, like, some new type of mental illness or something. Like, oh, he has brain addiction. Like, what?
Yeah, I think there would have to be natural blocks.
Right.
Of being able to, like... Impulse control is the biggest issue with that. Because, I would have, I have impulse control issues sometimes of like, oh, my phone's right there, I'm gonna look up, blah, 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 blah. But if I can just sit here, not have to move, and I can do that impulse control, I mean, in our conversation right now, I could have looked up 50 different things. I could have looked up, oh, what's the ratio of deaths? Oh, I can spit it out right now, and there would be no time delay. But that's just so...
That's hard to think about. Like, can you imagine?
I really don't want to. And that's the thing where it's like, if you could give me the tool to function and be a person who could really accomplish everything, like, how do I say this? My ability to work would go dramatically up. Like, my percentage of efficiency would go up as a worker for, my business or, for my home life or whatever. Like, my efficiency would be better. And that's the theory. My efficiency would be better. Or and if you could, I don't know, it's just like...
I feel like if you did have the Neuralink, you would be a superior human being.
Right, exactly.
You would know way more than I would. a monkey. I'd literally just be a monkey, and you would be like the Terminator.
Right.
Legitimately. It'd be crazy.
Exactly. So that's where I think I would really have to fucking think about it, man. I mean, you have to make a wise decision. Because, like, do you sit back with the monkeys, or do you go with the superior alien that we're about to become?
Literally.
Because we're about to become not something that's not human. You know, we are bipedal apes, right? Is that right? Is that what we are? Bipedal apes?
I don't know.
I don't really know. But
I don't
yeah,
believe
we're an
that
animal.
person.
You can believe what you want to believe in, but I
can't
know that I look similar to an ape. I know I do. I mean, like, I got the hands. I don't have the skin like them, but
That's you. You see, I evolved. I evolved from a tree, bro. A plant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Put your roots in. Yeah, it's a really scary topic, and then it begs the question: what's your parenting? Are you gonna be the strict parents that are like, give me that Neuralink, give me the
God.
you don't have anything. You are just gonna be playing with your wood blocks and that's it.
Bruh.
And it's like, I think.
What if they like start categorizing people that have it and not have it? Like you start splitting this up. Like,
Right.
You guys are the stupid heads.
You're the naturalists, or you're
Literally.
and like I guess that's kind of what the Amish is to us now.
Bro, that's crazy.
We look at the Amish in like a very similar fashion, like those stupid people who don't want electricity,
But they make that good food for sure.
and there must be something to it. I mean, there's got to be a reason why they're the camaraderie of being a part of nature, being a part of this natural life. There's got to be like a romance to that. There's got to be a benefit of it, and yeah, I think there's definitely a big argument. Like, well, what will I do in the future with parenting? My future children. Will I be like, yeah, you can watch YouTube 24/7. In your head. You can you can have the Neuralink for sure. Because imagine if it's just like the cell phone. When we were growing up, like, was there a big like debate in school if you had a cell phone or not?
I mean, you couldn't have one, period. When I was in like elementary school and middle school, it wasn't until high school when they were like, "Oh yeah, you guys can have your phones." Because what if there's like an intruder, a school shooter or something? You want to be able to contact the police or something.
I remember just being in grade school and like, we had such a small school that it wasn't that big of a deal, but they're still like, oh, I got an Android. Oh, you got an Android? Go fuck yourself. I got an iPhone.
That's crazy.
And like, I didn't have, I guess I had a phone at a young age, but it was still it was like a battle, that like everybody, it's gotta have a cell phone, and like, it was like a class kind of thing, a little bit. Don't you feel like that? It was
I remember in 6th grade when kids would bring their phones to school, and this was like before they set those rules, like no phones, period.
Right.
For a week, everyone started bringing in their phones like for 2 weeks, and you start playing like Subway Surfers together or something.
For sure.
Or what's that, Flappy Bird? They're playing Flappy Bird.
Sure, man.
For like a week, and then teachers were like, okay, these kids are doing it during class time. Their phones are going off all the time.
Right.
No more cell phones.
Right.
And that was it till middle school for us.
And I remember in high school, I just had a little brick phone. I had just a little analog phone.
Yeah.
And I just remember the feeling of like, even like kids telling me, "Oh, you got that phone? I got an iPhone," and like it literally drove me to get an iPhone my sophomore year because of just like, kind of just a slight ostracizing of me not being able to interact with these kids because I didn't have an iPhone, because there's just kind of a class difference, in a sense. Like I wasn't, like they're rich, I'm poor kind of feeling, and it's very fascinating how that's gonna develop with Neuralink, and being even about genetically modifying children, or
I swear to God, it's already happening. Like,
oh yeah,
they just don't know.
I guarantee they're making superhumans right now.
They have to.
Yeah.
You ever look at people and there's like, this person has like perfect genes.
Perfect genes.
This person is the perfect athlete. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that that's natural.
Right, but sometimes, obviously it is.
Right,
Obviously,
for the most
the
part, yeah.
NFL, the NBA, all the athletes out there, they are just, to a certain extent, great genes, and they've hit the genetic lottery.
Right.
Right, but I bet there are some sneaky labs in
China.
I bet they were kind of doing that shit in Ukraine too, which is a hot topic. But there's a reason why all the countries in the world are trying to save Ukraine, because I bet they were doing some shady shit there, and man, it's really fascinating how that will be a thing, having a genetically modified kid. Oh, you have a natural kid?
Dude, there's a movie on that.
What?
It was like, it's a super old movie, I don't know what it's called, but it was in a futuristic world where everyone was born genetically modified.
Mm-hmm.
And then one family decided to have like a regular natural born child.
Mm-hmm.
And they would take their blood samples to tell if they're like a GMO or a regular person. And if you're a regular person, you're like a risk to like a company, because you'll die sooner. You won't be as good as the other people. You won't be as smart. You're ugly. Like, there's so many bad qualities for being a regular person. So this guy wanted to be an astronaut, but he couldn't pass any of the tests. He could pass the test, but he couldn't pass like the blood sample test.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because he just has natural blood.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he couldn't get a job, he couldn't do crap. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Man, to add to that, it would be crazy. It would be crazy, because the flaws that we have as humans, that's what makes us human. That's what makes us, quote unquote, special. Right? I mean, like, oh, I have this, I'm unique. So it kind of gives that unique feeling. There's not going to be enough inputs that they have on my genetic code to make me unique, I would assume. Right? There's not going to be, and flaws make you unique, man. Like, I think that's what, it's the joy of life, is not being perfect. If we're perfect, then we go, oh, Jesus. That would just be so unsatisfying.
It'd be lonely.
It just, I wouldn't want to be it. I like being who I am.
Like, imagine never getting sick or never, like, being human. Like, damn.
And you'll just never have, like, you won't have as much hardship. If everything comes natural to you you won't have the, like, oh, I gotta learn these things. Oh, I'm stupid. Like, you need hard times to be thankful. And if you're just genetically perfect, you're not going to learn many lessons.
The way they had it in the movies, like, people are like ants. Like, you're born to be a worker ant. You're born to be like a queen. You're born to do this or to that.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell, like, they can make you like a criminal too. Like, oh, this guy has this % chance of being violent.
Mm-hmm.
This person has this % chance of being not violent or a good person.
Sure.
It's crazy. Like,
yeah.
So much they did.
That's so disgusting. That makes me,
Can you imagine? Like, there's so many genes. We've already mapped out the human genome. There's so many genes. That there's so many things. We haven't?
I feel like, yeah, we have, but we don't know what half the shit does.
Right.
Or maybe 80% of what it does. I mean, we understand, like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Could you just imagine what they could do with that? Like, just changing all of those things and...
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
It's playing with God.
Yeah.
It's, and you can believe in God, you cannot believe in God, whatever. Whatever your religious beliefs are, go believe them. But what I will say is you are being a creator of life, and that is dangerous, okay? I mean, like, you want to do it naturally, God bless you, go right ahead. But if you're going to start playing with life like that, you're going to find something that you might not enjoy. And that's where I go back to Terminator, is that everybody needs to experience their own life. There's a reason why we are living the life we're living. It's because it's pretty natural right now. The only thing unnatural in our life is that we have buildings, air conditioning, and computers.
But once we start making superhumans and start making Superman and start making the Hulk and start making my mind immediately goes to the military aspect. Yeah, corporations, cool. Yeah, whatever. If you want to be a better worker, great. Okay, fine. You want to really contribute to society? Sure. But militaries are really juicing the idea of an army that's perfect. The perfect specimen, the perfect soldier. The perfect soldier never asks any questions. And
that's terrifying.
It's terrifying because what I like as a human being is to know that we're all on this rock together. Truly, we're all together on this rock. And if you really start listening to how the populations of the world see militaries and see borders, the general consensus of the world's population is that we really shouldn't have all these borders, we shouldn't have all these militaries, we shouldn't have all these wars, all these deaths and killings for just a little bit of profit, just for a little bit of land. It's so pointless, but the small groups of people who are leading those armies, are leading our governments, they kind of go down these spirals of we need nationalism. They go down these nationalistic ideas that we're the best nation, that we should be controlling the whole world, or we should be policing the world, or we should be doing this and that to expand our borders, to expand our ideals, to expand. And it's just hey, just calm down.
I feel like once you get in that mentality, you only have one option. It's you versus everyone at that point. Unless you have some sort of ally, then it'd just be you versus everyone until everyone's dead. And it's just you and your people left. That's what it boils down to.
Let me tell you, I don't endorse the pure race idea. I'm not good with that. Because that's what America's built on, man, is immigration.
Right.
I mean, we're not, at this current moment, we're really not big on immigration, but as as history goes, we've taken in a lot of people as a nation, and I don't know if the melting pot is still a socially acceptable example or way to look at America, but we are a melting pot. We're all in this together at this point. We're the biggest social experiment as a nation, and I like that. I like it a lot.
Do you want to collect a free NFT? Well, head over to OpenSea and visit @ShopOruga to view our collections of digital art. Our most recent collection, Citation, is available now. Check it out.
What do they call the Soviets?
Comrades?
Communists. I can't.
Communists?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many communists do you know? They're truly communists.
I know a lot of hippie idiots that think it's a good idea, but do I know any real embedded communists? Probably none.
Right.
I know none.
There's a reason why. Because we kill them.
I just don't think. Okay, but this is a free market. This is the open market, and I think the best idea wins.
I see.
The best idea wins in this place. It'd be the same thing with religion. There's a reason why there's freedom of religion. It's because, let the best religion win. If there's 100%, then there's 100%. But if there's not, who gives a fuck? Because we're going to separate church and state. And I think if there was an amazing idea, I think it would really run through America and it would probably be the leading idea.
It'd be crazy if we change it up. For sure.
But there's a reason why we don't. It's because there's an innate fear of one person controlling everything. And that's what communism and extremism boils down to, is one person leading it all. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be we're all in this together. That's why we vote. And maybe the voting system isn't as great as it once was, or blah, 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 blah. But we're all in this together. If you want good representation, then you should, be an activist and get lots of votes and, make sure that you have good representation in your county, your city, your state, and your government.
Don't you think it's crazy how, like, people will think we are under one person? Like, people are like, oh, Biden's the reason for this and that. Or even when it was Trump, it was, Trump,
But that's because of people's simplistic solutions. They're thinking like children.
Right.
When people do that, they are thinking like children. Because the government's not going to help us. Because the government's just full of people.
Right.
We're just people, man. And if you want to change, you do it yourself. The government is just to sustain what we have. It's not to build greater. It's just to sustain what we have. If you want to build greater, you got to do that yourself. And when people are like, yeah, the government's really fucking everything up, it's not just the government, you know what I mean? It's also the people themselves. Because the people, governments is a great reflection of what the people value, right? If the government values something, it's probably because the people are voting for it, and the people value it as well. And, I guess that's why, why did Trump, what were the main things that he was running with? We're going to close the border. We're going to be, we're going to make sure that he didn't really run with the no war idea, but he reflected no wars.
And maybe more financially stable, less in debt or whatnot. Or even finding a way to make, more jobs or something?
Sure. Job increase.
Our economy better, something like that. But I think every president would say that. Why wouldn't you?
But that's a reflection of the people.
Right.
At the time. I mean, so, I don't know, the responsibility doesn't lay on the government 24/7.
Especially not the president.
Oh, gosh. He's one human being who's just getting...
He has, 2 jobs, I feel like. Talking and pressing the button.
I mean, I'm sure there's major issues and major laws that they have to, oversee. And just... Obviously, they're not making laws, but they're, overseeing a lot of presidential responsibilities.
Right. They're always, checked. So, I feel like... Especially with how divided our government is, 50-50 almost. It's anything they try to do just won't get done for the most part.
Sure.
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know why we don't have multiple parties. I find that to be a little ridiculous that we don't have more than Republican and Democrat. Because that's where it goes back to, we need more than just 2 options. What's going on here? Are we really not that intelligent where we can't have 3? I mean, for God's sakes, I can go to any restaurant and they'll have 10 options for me to go to a restaurant. Are you saying that I have more options at a restaurant than I do as my political beliefs?
It's pretty crazy.
Pretty stupid, in my mind. And that seems a little primitive to have 2 options, but... there must be reasons to why we don't have them right now. I mean, there's got to be a scare to it, right? And there's got to be a reason why. What's the big one? There's a couple parties. There's the Green Party.
Right.
There's the...
the Yellow Party, the Orange Party.
No, there's the Green Party, but then there's there's not the Nationalist, but it's a Libertarian. The Libertarian group. Right, and I used to really, really like the Libertarian group. I used to really be a big fan, but now it's I think it's all kind of everything's kind of a hoax.
Just weird. I remember my art teacher, probably not the best person to go off of, but
sure.
For politics, but they were just I would love to vote for the Green Party, but no one ever votes for them, so my vote doesn't count, and it's just, we should vote. That's what she used to say, stuff like that. There's a lot of people feel that way.
Right, because you don't want to split your vote. Right? As a Democrat or as a Republican, You don't want to split your party up. I mean, that's the main reason why Bernie Sanders didn't run against Hillary Clinton during I guess that was 2016, right? So Hillary Clinton won the primary against Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders could have ran as an independent, but he would have split the Democratic vote. And that would have made Trump have a clear victory.
Right.
And I think there has to be a party that splits both a Republican and Democrat. It's like, and there'll never be that perfect transition into multi-party from two parties. Because like you just said, the Republican and Democrat are pretty split right now. As the House and what's the other one? So there's the
House and then the judicial...
No, the judicial branch.
Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court is voted for life. But they're appointed by the president.
There's three branches, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. The presidential, the judicial, and the executive. So the
Senate and the House is a legislative.
Senate and the House, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the judicial is the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so funny how, as an American, I barely understand all that. Like,
I just don't care enough about it.
Yeah.
When I was writing this, I was like, this should all burn. And then we should retry, because it's kind of trash.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Kai. I hope it doesn't burn in my lifetime. I really don't. I think I'll have a calmer, more happy lifestyle than dealing with just a complete uphold of the government. That seems a bit chaotic. And
I don't know. They just need to make it a little bit more smoother, just so we can get things done faster. It needs to be more efficient for sure.
why can't we vote on our cell phones? I can bank. On my cell phone. I can hold money on my cell phone. How can I not vote on my cell phone?
You know how many votes I'd put in for Kanye West if I could vote on a cell phone?
You'd only be able to put in one.
How? Why do you say that?
Because you're going to have to put in your social security card and your name.
You know how much a social security card is? It's like $15 on the dark web. Yeah. It's so easy. It's too easy.
It's too easy?
It's too easy for someone to be a super hacker or something and, holding the cell phones and...
If you're going to say that, then it's just like... I mean, I guess you're right. You are right. But then your only answer is that it should be in person. Right? And then... But I am not for saying that you shouldn't have IDs. You shouldn't check an ID for voting. I don't think voting should be allowed for everybody.
What? Who shouldn't vote?
Felons? People who are
Do
not...
they vote?
No, of course not.
I see.
Felons should not be able to vote to a certain extent. I mean, I know you have to have some humanity and all, but felons cannot vote. But I also think that if you're not a citizen who doesn't pay taxes, probably shouldn't be able to vote either. And that's just we.
If you're not contributing to your country,
right. You shouldn't have the ability to say anything. And so that means, okay, so you should show an ID. And for people to not respect that is really fascinating to me, because I don't really think they understand the effect that happens when everybody's allowed to vote. Oh, we're not going to check IDs because that hurts people's feelings. Fuck that. Because you're affecting your country. This is a big deal. And it should be fair, and whoever should be able to vote should be a person who contributes to this nation.
Sure.
Right? And
but then again,
what? How
many people don't pay taxes? I don't really know a lot myself. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it'd be such a small amount of people that it wouldn't really make a big difference.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, and I guess I would be to a certain extent, I guess they wouldn't be able to vote either, you know?
I think-
And they're also going to get arrested by the IRS, though. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be honest. 86,000 new IRS agents, they're on that case.
I think there's a lot of psychology in voting. Because where we are
Elaborate.
now, it's like, I don't know how to say this. Like, let's say we're both Republicans, right? Our
Sure.
families are Republicans.
Okay.
You will vote Republican most likely. Like,
Okay.
psychologically, you'll be like, dang, everyone's voting Republican that I know. I'm
Mhm.
voting Republican.
Right.
Straight.
That's my
And it's
tribe.
like, man, I don't know. Here's another way to think about it. Like, in my fluid dynamics class,
Mm-hmm.
the smart kid will say, oh, the answer is B. Before the teacher even raises her hand, before it's time to vote. So it's like a top guy Republican being like, oh, vote on issue A
Sure.
before election. You know, it just influences so many people. And then when it's time to see the answer, say your choice, you're going with that guy. You trust that guy. You know that guy.
He's a trusted
All these
source.
people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like psychology. It's not what you think. It's not like an original vote. It's like
True.
you're just copying someone else.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like you want to be accepted too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to look like I'm not stupid.
Sure.
So I don't want to vote A, even though I have that in my paper, because
Right.
a smart kid voted B.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's a great example. That's a great example. And I would say to combat that, I'd like to think I can think for myself. I'd like to think that I cannot be affected by the groupthink. Because that's what you're describing, right? It's groupthink. Groupthink is scary as fuck. Because groupthink can lead us into the wrong direction very quickly. Because groups don't have the time to take witness. Be wise. Think about how it affects you individually, not as the group. Separate yourself from the group and think about it, sit with it. But I totally agree with you. A lot of people just let life happen to them. People will just let the group vote for them. And that's a lot of people. I don't know how you ever fix that. I mean, that is just a huge issue that I don't know how you would ever solve it, really. Besides putting Neuralink in your spine.
So like the House of Representatives or even like the Senate,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that how it is? Like the person in charge will like say the issue.
May I have your attention, please?
Oh snap.
It is now 4:30 p.m.
Oh snap.
The circulation desk will be closing in 30 minutes at 5 p.m.
That is for us
to leave.
because we're doing this podcast in the library right now.
UC library. What's the
You
name
don't
of
have
this
to.
library?
You don't have to call out our location.
Oh snap. Whoops. UC as in University of California, Berkeley.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. LA. 'Cause we love that shit. Yeah, that's funny.
Alright, back to this. So, in like the House of Representatives or Senate, I don't know which one, isn't it like a group thing? Like they'll say the issue and then they'll go like 1-to-1, like Florida, vote. What's your stance? What do you think about this? And then it just goes on like that.
Mm-hmm. And their answer is influenced more than just the bill itself. Obviously, they're going to be influenced by the group that they're in, Republican or Democrat or Independent, right? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of lobbying as well.
Right.
You know, there's going to be a corporation coming up to you and be like, hey, you know, we'll fund your next campaign if you kind of lean a little more to the right or a little more to the left on that issue.
Right.
And that is also an issue. You know, corporations being in bed
I mean,
with...
isn't that illegal? Lobbying is illegal, right?
There's a lot of loopholes, man.
I see.
You know, you could say it's illegal to me, but it would be really shocking.
If it's not happening.
Yeah, there's just if there's a will, there's a way, and
Right.
if Apple, let's say let's say Apple is creating this new Neuralink to combat Elon, and they're like, we want to get in the market with Elon, right, of doing a Neuralink. And if there was a new law being like, we will not allow neurological devices to be surgically inputted on any human being unless they needed for their physical issues, like paraplegics, or people who have no ability to use they're just paralyzed. Right? So Apple, and I would assume Tesla would be like, let's lobby.
Right.
Let's lobby.
Why not?
Why not? We have billions invested into this research. Let's not let this research go to waste. And that's where the groupthink happens, is corporations. Corporations are the greatest example of groupthink. Okay? And that is why corporations will go so fucking far to screw out to screw over the regular citizens just to get their way. And corporations have done a lot of great for me. I mean, like, I'm wearing a lot of clothing that's produced by corporations. I'm talking on a mic that was probably made by slave labor. And my cell phone's a great example of sweatshops. But they created that cell phone. That cell phone's pretty great. And what do you do?
It's crazy.
It's groupthink, man. It is so hard to teach yourself not to fall victim of groupthink as well.
I agree. I have two things. First, I want to say, at my job, everything from my job that comes in is from a sweatshop. All the products. So it's like made in India, made in Thailand, and it smells like it was in a dirty place.
Okay.
Made in a dirty place. It smells terrible.
Okay.
And then a questionnaire, like a yearly questionnaire, they're like, should we ethically source our products? And I was like, wow, you're really asking us if you should ethically source your products. Maybe you should just do that.
Do it. Yeah. Why are you asking? Right.
I thought that was crazy. And it was like, you can only choose 2 out of like 3 answers, and like that was one of them. And it was like, get paid more or help people with their houses, and it was like things that should already be done, and they only give you like 2 options out of like the 5, and it's like, what?
Right.
So maybe you should do all of these, not just 2.
Right.
It's crazy. And then another thing is, when you vote, isn't it just like you vote for people, right? When you go to vote.
Well, you also vote for bills as well.
Like for local, like education?
No, both. A state usually. So you never... Okay, so have you never voted before?
I've voted once.
Okay. Was that state, local, was that presidential?
Yeah, presidential.
Okay, so I remember going in for the presidential, and it was local, state, and then, but all the local and state were people, right? And then they would have, I think they would have local acts, such as like bills, meaning laws, that would be put into effect for the state or the local city. And then it was the presidential election.
Right.
Right? And so you never decide on a law for a federal law.
Right.
But as a citizen of a state, you can decide on
a representative that will make that decision.
Sure, or it will go to the voters itself. The law will go
What?
So in 2016, it was a vote for Ohio to have medicinal marijuana and maybe it was medical marijuana, maybe not medicinal. But I don't know what the difference is between medicinal and medical. But let's just say medical.
Right.
So in 2016, they voted for legalizing medical marijuana, and that was the decision by the people of Ohio. And that shit passed like that.
That's crazy.
Not a big deal. And that did not happen through Ohio's, I don't know if states have, I guess states have a Senate and states have a House of Representatives, I would assume.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Then what did they have? I guess they just have Oh, we vote as a representative. We vote for a representative to go to the federal level.
Yeah.
Boom. That's so crazy that I had to. I can't believe I forgot that.
They hop on the helicopters and go all the way to DC.
Yeah.
Crazy life.
It'd probably be cool though. It'd probably be cool. I don't think I would want that lifestyle though, because that's a lot of groupthink. Because if you upset your group, you might have to go to the other group. It's a lot of tribal thinking.
Man, I feel like there should be a lot more things that should be like for the people. Like I feel like we should have more choice. But then again, I'm thinking like Americans are kind of dumb, so I don't know if we'll be able to make the choice that I want. It's like a double-edged sword. To win, lose.
And what is ethical voting? Right? What is ethical voting?
Yeah, like abortion, like.
No. I'm not even. What is ethical to allow
In voting?
In voting.
I see.
Like, what is ethical to like what
practices?
What is the model citizen? What is ethical as a nation to allow voting for certain people? Because like mentally ill people, they shouldn't be allowed to vote, right? I mean, if you're psychotic and you don't have your life together, you probably shouldn't be allowed to vote too, right? Because you're easily manipulated.
Like someone that's on drugs, like crazy drugs, like crackhead, basically.
Sure, yeah, of course. Because you're easily influenced. Because you can take advantage of people as a group. You could go up to, let's say you're a Republican or a Democrat. You're just, you're a party member, and you go up to the homeless and you're like, I will give you food, but you gotta vote for this group.
That's crazy.
And you know what those people will do? Probably vote for that group, right?
Because they're getting that food.
Because they're getting that food. And obviously I guess that's illegal in our country, New Zealand. But they're probably doing it. They're definitely doing it. They're definitely slightly influencing the groups that you can influence to vote for them. And that's just not ethical, right? What is ethical voting? And I'm not saying that, like, low IQ people shouldn't be able to vote either, but like, I don't know, like, it begs the question, what is ethical voting? Because I don't fully understand the big picture, but I'm still allowed to vote.
Right. Same. Like, I literally voted for Kanye. Like.
I will not say who I voted for.
Wow.
Just because, like, I don't really believe I don't believe in any of the choices, really. I mean, we've really had some dog shit choices since I've been allowed to vote. And, oh man, this, like, Biden and Trump election was so just horrible. They're both old as fuck. They're both crazy. They're both crazy as fuck. How could we let this happen?
My favorite part of like the presidential election is like when they introduce like all like 7 of those like people that would run for president. That's what my favorite part is.
Oh, the midterms?
I think that's
the midterm debates on both sides, on the Democrat and Republican side. Yeah,
I believe so. There's so many new faces that you never see in the news all the time, and they're well spoken and
right.
Seem kind of interesting, They look normal.
They look normal. And then the 2 slimy,
literally,
like,
worst
reptilian looking motherfuckers are the one I want. And I want somebody young. I want somebody fucking 40 years old who doesn't need a nap during midday. You know what I mean? I want somebody who's fucking strong. I want somebody who is logical and wise. I need somebody wise. I don't need somebody with all the information. When you're president, you get all the information. You don't need all the information. You need wisdom. You need wisdom.
What is the president doing that, it's just I feel like the president is almost at the same level as, like, the Queen in the UK. I feel like it's these people, the House of Representatives, the Senate, that are truly representing our country.
That's true, but you're still the I forget what they call it, but you're the head man of military. What do you call it? Chief of... What is that called?
Dang, what is it?
You know what I'm referring to when you are the head of the military at that point. And you can make executive decisions to do things like, and you can slightly manipulate, you can kind of slightly manipulate what you want your military to do. Commander-in-Chief of the Navy and the Army. Exactly. And with that, you can facilitate small battles. Right. You know, you can't go to war, but you can facilitate small battles. And like the Bay of Pigs is always a great example in history of a president, John F. Kennedy, debating what should we do in Cuba? You know, should we go after them? Should we not? Should we invade or should we not? And man, he made the best decision. He really did a great job. At least history favors him. Right. Right? And it's really, we need a lot of those. We need a lot of history favoring, you know. And, you know, I'm not gonna be too positive on Donald Trump, but he didn't have us in a lot of wars. He had us in no wars, actually, which is amazing. And you know what? We're in a war right now. A Democrat got us into a war.
What war are we talking about?
Ukraine, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a touchy subject.
Weren't they plotting that for like years?
Who?
Wasn't that the conspiracy? Russia? The Democrats, like Biden, mainly Biden. I heard he was in there, like in Ukraine.
His son was.
His son, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like what?
If so, the dominoes fall perfectly for them, right? Because they are covering everything up with a war zone. All their footprints of, you know, nasty, malicious decisions have been mopped up by war. And it's really sad. I mean, like, I would really like to, because I've heard so many conspiracies of like genetic testing, of disease testing, like I forget what the term that they would have, like what the kind of lab that leaked COVID in Wuhan. I'm gonna say that. I want this to be a COVID episode. I want Spotify to dock us for talking about COVID-19, Corona, because that was most likely leaked. Right, from a lab. And that was gain-to-function labs, right? It was a gain-to-function. So they manipulated these viruses to see what would happen. So they would basically beef up these.
May I have your attention, please? The desk at next to the
They would. That's such a sad thing because I had such a great point. And now these motherfuckers are talking on the goddamn PA. Well, actually, that's our headquarters. We're at headquarters right now of Oruga Studios. And my front desk lady does not understand that. She cannot be on the PA system. But what I'm saying is that gain-to-function research is to beef up a virus to see what would happen in the future. What could potentially happen if a massive, or if a really horrific virus would rip through the human population. And so they would beef up viruses to test, to see what would happen, to make future vaccines. And, oh man, there just seemed, then there was a lot of theories of Ukraine having gain-to-function, of having, I mean, they were even talking about, like, child slavery in Ukraine, too. No. And it's like, but these are all conspiracies, right? I mean, I don't know if I can't, personally, me in Cincinnati cannot be like, over there, they're doing all this nasty stuff. So clearly, I'm just hearing from what the Earth Hive is buzzing about. Yeah. But it does beg the question what was going on, because they're really committed to save this little peninsula of land, right? This little small thing is like we're throwing billions and trillions into.
Is there oil there?
No, but there's wheat. Ooh. There's wheat and grain there. There's a lot of grain there, and that's their argument, or at least that's the argument I hear a lot, is that they have food supplies there. And they also have a lot of lithium, I think, for batteries there.
Man. You know what, with the virus, COVID-19, like, if that was made in the lab, I don't understand why they don't just download that game off the App Store and just play that little germ virus simulation. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it's called, like, Plague Inc. Have you heard of that?
No.
Right. It's like $2.99.
Okay.
You download it. You can make your own virus, and you can kill the whole world. You know, in your free time, on your, lunch break. I don't understand what they had to do in real life.
That's funny.
Thank
you for that.
The genes. Just make that into a video game, like Sims 5. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for the enlightenment. I appreciate that.
Looking for an out-of-this-world poster or some stickers to brighten your mood? Check out the Posters and Prints collection on our website, orugastore.com. Our artworks are perfect for walls, mood boards, and anywhere you want to accessorize. The Oruga Podcast.
Somehow somebody's always looking the other way. Now look at these guys. They look busy, right?